All right, let's get into a story about two brothers from the house of Jacob. Now, both of them were destined for some serious trials, but the paths they took and where they ended up could not have been more different. These trials would forge them and their legacy forever.
And that, right there, is the heart of this whole story. We're going to see Joseph's public, high-stakes struggles slam right up against his brother Judah's private, hidden failures. So, let's get into it.
So, let's kick things off with Joseph. He's favored, he's handsome, and he's a man of real integrity. But oh boy, that integrity is about to get put through the ringer in the house of his Egyptian master, Potiphar. You see, Potiphar's wife, Zelicah, she becomes completely obsessed with him. I mean, it starts with her praising his looks, his comely appearance, and beautiful eyes. But it escalates fast. The praise turns into persuasion turns into promises, and when that doesn't work, her obsession gets dark, and the promises turn into death threats.
I mean, can you imagine the psychological pressure here? It's just immense. On one side, you've got Joseph, holding on to what his father taught him, refusing to commit this great wickedness and sin against God. He literally won't even look at her. And on the other side, you have Zelicah using every dirty trick in the book, dressing up, getting him alone, threatening him with torture. It is a daily battle of wills.
And this is where it all boils over. The whole household is empty, gone for a festival. Zelicah confronts him one last time, but this time, she pulls a sword, puts it to his neck, and gives him the final ultimatum. It's either her or death.
In that moment of pure terror, Joseph makes a choice. He chooses his integrity and literally runs for his life. But as he escapes, she grabs him, and a piece of his garment tears off in her hand. And that single piece of cloth, the symbol of his righteous escape, becomes the very instrument of his downfall. She immediately flips the story and uses it as proof that he was the aggressor.
So he's falsely accused, publicly shamed, and thrown into the king's prison. This should be it, right? The end of the line, forgotten in some dungeon. But even in that total darkness, a divine spark is about to ignite.
He's not down there alone for too long. Two of Pharaoh's top officials, the chief butler and the chief baker, get thrown in with him. And one morning, Joseph finds them totally dejected, spooked by these bizarre dreams they had. The butler dreams about a vine and serving wine, while the baker dreams about baskets of bread being eaten by birds.
And Joseph, he steps in and says, hey, interpretations, they belong to God. Let me tell you what's up. He lays it all out with total confidence. For the butler, those 3 branches mean in 3 days you're getting your job back. But for the baker, those 3 baskets also mean 3 days, but your ending is a lot different. Pharaoh's going to lift your head off your shoulders. You'll be hanged.
And wouldn't you know it, 3 days later, on Pharaoh's birthday, it all comes true. I mean, exactly as he said. The butler is back to work, putting the cup in Pharaoh's hand. And the baker, he's executed. Joseph's gift is real, no question about it.
But here's the kicker. Joseph had asked the butler for one simple thing. When you get out, just remember me. But nope, the guy's so happy to be free, he completely blanks. And Joseph, he's just left there. Left to rot in that pit, forgotten for 2 more agonizing years. 2 long years go by, and then it happens. Pharaoh himself has a nightmare, a terrifying vision that none of his so-called wise men can make any sense of. And in that moment of royal panic, a light bulb finally goes off for the butler. Oh yeah, that Hebrew guy in the dungeon.
So they haul Joseph out of the dungeon, clean him up, and bring him before the most powerful man on earth. And he doesn't just translate the dreams, he connects the dots. He tells Pharaoh, look, these aren't 2 different dreams, it's one single message from God. You're going to get 7 years of crazy abundance, followed by 7 years of a famine so bad, it'll make everyone forget the good times ever happened. And his advice? Find someone smart to run the country and prepare.
What happens next is nothing short of a divine power-up. Seriously, the night before he has to prove himself, an angel comes and teaches him all 70 languages of the known world. See, the test of wisdom was ascending Pharaoh's throne, which had 70 steps, and speaking a new language at each one. No one could do it. But Joseph? He walks up all 70 steps, acing the ultimate test. And just like that, he goes from prisoner to prime minister. So at just 30 years old, Joseph is no longer a slave or a prisoner. He's Zaphnath-Paneah, the second in command, basically the guy in charge of saving all of Egypt. No pressure, right?
And his power is real, and it's immediate. We're not just talking about managing grain here. To secure the kingdom, he puts together a massive army. We're talking 40,600 soldiers ready to enforce the king's will.
Pharaoh just decks him out with all the symbols of power. We're talking his own signet ring, the finest linen clothes, a big gold chain, and the second royal chariot. A herald literally runs ahead of him, shouting, "Bow the knee!" His transformation is total.
But here's the thing. All this power, it doesn't change who he is. He rules with that same rock-solid integrity he had back in Potiphar's house. He turns down bribes, he judges fairly, and he even leads his brand new army to a huge victory. He's the whole package, a wise leader and a winning general.
Okay, so while all of this high-stakes drama is playing out in Egypt, we need to switch gears, because we have to talk about his brother Judah. While Joseph is facing his trials out in the open, Judah is facing a completely different kind of test, a private one. A test of character that takes place in the shadows of his own family. And let me tell you, he fails, spectacularly.
And this right here, this is just a train wreck in slow motion, all started by a lie. First, his oldest son gets Tamar as a wife, but he's wicked, so God strikes him down. Then his second son does the same thing, and he's struck down too. So Judah, fearing for his last son, denies Tamar her rights and sends her away with a false promise. Years later, his own moral compass is so broken, he sleeps with a harlot on the side of the road who is actually his own daughter-in-law in disguise.
So he has no money on him to pay her, right? So he leaves a pledge. But this isn't just some spare change. He hands over the very things that prove who he is. His personal signet, his necklace, and his staff. He literally gives her his entire identity, totally blind to the trap he's just walked into.
Fast forward 3 months. Word gets out that Tamar is pregnant, and Judah, the very man responsible, flies into this self-righteous rage. With zero hesitation, he passes a cruel, hypocritical sentence. Burn her to death.
But Tamar, oh, she has an ace up her sleeve. As they're dragging her out to be executed, she plays her final card. She presents the signet, the necklace, and the staff. She doesn't even say his name. She doesn't have to. The evidence speaks for itself. And in that one moment, his private sin becomes public knowledge, and he's forced to admit, she has been more righteous than I.
So at the end of the day, here's what we're left with. You've got Joseph, whose integrity was tested in front of everyone, masters, prisoners, and kings, and it led him to glory. Then you have Judah, whose integrity was tested in the privacy of his own family, and his failure led to deep public shame. It really makes you wonder, what's the true measure of character? Is it defined by how we handle the big, public battles, or is it about our integrity in those small, private moments when we think no one else is watching?